Hello everyone. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about Appalachian Cove forests before we get into our art project. First of all, biodiversity is a measurement of the variety of plants and animals found in a specific location. A cove forest is a specific location unique to the southern Appalachian Mountains. This forest type forms in between mountainous ridges, making a sort of bowl shape. Many cove forests have streams wandering through them, which is part of the reason this forest has some of the greatest plant and tree diversity of any forest in the United States. Here are some of the plants and animals that live here. The ginseng. Short, slow-growing plant valued for medicinal benefits. Those include increased energy, treating diabetes, reducing swelling, and preventing illness. It takes 5 to 10 years to develop a root the size of this picture. Wow. Christmas ferns form a dense ground covering that helps keep soil in place. They provide very important hiding and nesting sites for certain types of birds like wild turkeys. Christmas ferns are easy to identify because leaflets are shaped like Christmas stockings. The eastern box turtle. The eastern box turtle is very common in our area. You have probably seen one of these trying to cross the road. They live in and out of water, and males have red eyes. Their diet, what they eat, includes snails, insects, earthworms, plants, and poisonous mushrooms. Alright class, today we are going to make a collage cove forest, which you just learned a little bit about. So I'm going to go over some of the supplies that you're going to need in order to make this art project. First off, you're going to need some scissors, a pencil. You may either have crayons, markers, or colored pencils, some glue, and you may have one of these 3 glues, a glue pen, a glue bottle, or a glue stick. You're also going to need a painter's marker, a permanent marker, some painted paper samples, and in your art bag there will also be some examples of tree shapes found in our cove forests. Now these shapes are very simple shapes, and they're just of the leaves and how the top of the trees look. It's not actually showing the stems, which we will add after we cut out the tree leaf shapes. So the very first thing that you are going to need is your pencil and your painted paper. Now, you have a variety of different colors of painted paper. So you're going to pick one. You're going to flip it over on the back. On the back, you're going to draw your tree shape. Now remember, we're going to add the trunk later, so we're just drawing the top of the tree. So for this one, I'm going to draw my oval shape. Remember, these are really simple shapes. If you want to make them a little bit more complicated, that is totally fine. So I have drawn an oval tree shape, and I think I'm going to jump over here and take this lighter green paper, flip it over, and on the back I'm going to draw a different tree shape. Maybe more one that's very organic, which means doesn't have any straight lines. Now there are no 2 trees that look exactly the same, so it's okay if your shapes are very different. Alright, I'm going to start with those 2 shapes, and I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. So I'm going to use my scissors, I'm going to take my time and cut cut one out. I got my shape, but as you can see, I have a lot of extra area over here. So I might cut out a bush later or another tree shape using the same piece of paper because I drew my shape really close to the edge. So here is one tree shape. I'm gonna just place that down, take my other paper and other shape and carefully cut it out. All right, so I have an oval tall tree, and maybe this is a little bit shorter of a tree. Now we're gonna add the tree trunks in a little bit, but you know what? I feel like I need one more tall tree to go in my Cove forest. Now, you can add as many different trees as you would like to, or as many as you can, but I'm just gonna start with 3, maybe add a 4th. So I'm going to take another piece of paper. This one has a little bit of red, so maybe it's almost fall in my deciduous Cove forest. I'm gonna look at the different shapes of my trees again. So I've done an organic one, an oval one. This is kind of like a triangular shaped tree, more like a pine tree. I don't know how many pine trees are in Cove forest. This is a more horizontal oval shape. Kind of reminds me of like a dogwood almost. So I might do a shape along those lines. So I'm gonna flip my paper back over, draw really close to the edge, and there we go. Okay, so I flip that over, and I have 3 different types of trees. All right, so I've kind of arranged them, some a little bit taller than others, because in a Cove forest, you know that trees are not spaced out evenly so they don't touch. They kind of are a little bit jumbled together. So I have 3 trees. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and glue those trees down. So if you have a glue stick, what you would do is just take this off, twist up a little bit of glue, and put it on the back. If you have a glue like this, you just pull off the top and, oops, some glue on the paper, and you can just squeeze out the glue on the back. And with a big glue bottle, you twist the top. You twist the top, and it opens up, and you can squirt out glue. So I'm gonna flip my glue, and I'm gonna put little dots all around the edge of my trees. You don't need a whole lot of glue because just a little bit of glue will keep your tree in place. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. I'm gonna flip this one over. Got a little bit of glue there. I'm gonna show you how to use each type of glue. This glue stick has some glitter left over in it. Just enough to give it a good stick. And I'm gonna actually overlap them a little bit. So this tree might be a little bit lower to the ground than this taller one. And then the glue pen, you're just going to draw little dots of glue and get along the edge. Just like that. Always remember to put your caps back on your art materials so they stay nice and fresh. All right, this one's gonna go up a little bit taller, just like that. I actually got some extra glue on my paper, so I'm just going to smear that away. I can wash my hands later. All right, so how are we going to add trunks? Well, we have several options, but the one option that we're going to do is we are going to draw them. So we're not going to make this super complicated, but you can either use your crayons, you can use markers, colored pencils, or a Sharpie. So first of all, I'm just going to use this Sharpie so that it shows up nice and clear. So when I come down, I'm just going to draw a straight line for my trunk, and I might draw another line coming down from it, and the bottom is going to curve out just a little bit, and I can color that in if I want to. Now, in order to see all the tree branches, I'm going to actually come up into my tree and draw some lines shooting up, showing where the branches go into the tree, because all those leaves have to attach to something. They just don't float up there. So I just drew a variety of lines to show where the branches are in my tree. So now I'm going to come over here to this tree and draw another tree going straight down to the ground. I'm going to color that in a little bit. Now, this tree is really dark, so the black permanent marker might not show up very well. So I'm going to take my paint pen and I'm going to actually draw some branches using this yellow paint pen. Now, if your paint pen is brand new, you might have to shake it a little bit and press down on it to get it to show up. So you have to press and then you draw with your paint pen, okay? So that's a different way of adding branches into your tree. All right, the last one, and I'm gonna draw another trunk. Big, tall tree. Now remember, you can draw your trunks with markers or crayons or colored pencils. And since this is also a dark one, I'm going to add my branches using my paint pen. Okay. Now that I've gotten 3 trees on my paper, I've noticed that I still have a lot of extra white space, and I kind of want to fill that with other things. So some things that you can fill the paper with are some more trees, smaller trees overlapping it, and then some lower bushes that kind of go along in front of the tree. So I'm going to take my paper again. I'm going to flip it over and see what colors I have. And you know what? I think I need one more tree, and then I'm going to cut out some bushes. So I'm going to use this to draw another tree, maybe a round one. More of an oval shape. Now, I glued it kind of right on top of this other tree because in a forest, sometimes the trees overlap and one tree blocks the view of another tree. Okay, now I'm gonna draw some different bushes and undergrowth. I'm gonna cut those out of my paper and glue them along the bottom of my trees. So, here we go. So I have one kind of bush there and another one there. I might put them just in front of my trees a little bit. Remember, you can use whatever type of glue you have. All right, now I have some extra paper, so I'm going to add some more different plants that are growing in my forest down here. So let's see, I need some more. Maybe there's an azalea of some sort. So what I'm doing now is I'm just seeing what kind of paper I have left, and I'm trying to fill up my cove forest with a lot of different plants. You can even cut out some really teeny tiny plants. You might not even need to draw on the back of your paper. Maybe you just cut out some little small ones and glue them like right down in front of another bush. You can put some glue straight on the paper for that one. Or maybe you want something a little bit taller. You can go remember, these shapes aren't necessarily very specific. Sometimes they're a little bit loosey-goosey, just to kind of show the shape of different plants. All right, this might be a small little tree that's trying to grow up to be a tall tree. All right, now that we have a lot of plants, trees and bushes in our cove forest, we're going to remove all that and maybe add some details into our plants. So I can either use my Sharpies, I can try to use colors or markers, or my paint pens and permanent marker. So I'm going to just start by adding some leaves into my little bush down here. A little bit of undergrowth. I'm just kind of hinting at what kind of plant it is. I might draw some more over here. It's a little bit hard to see because that's so dark, so maybe I use my paint pen and I can color, add a little bit of pattern onto it. Sometimes different undergrowth looks like there's a lot of leaves and it's really tangly, so I just added a bunch of bumpy lines into that one. For my little one over here, I'm going to draw some lines. Maybe it's a little tree trying to grow up and some leaves. Now, you are more than welcome to add some flowers or whatever you want to your cove forest. All right, I really like how that looks. So at this point, I have a lot of white space in the background, so I want to kind of fill that in with some of the color, and that's where your markers and colored pencils and crayons come in handy. If you have some extra scraps left over, think about different plants you could cut up and glue into the empty spaces. But for now, I'm going to fill in the background of my cove forest with some colors of the sky. If you have some extra white space and you want to actually draw some trees in the background, that works too. So I have a little bit of extra space and I just want to draw some trees back there. So I might fill in some space back here. And the last thing is I'm going to start to add a sky. So I'm just going to start to fill this in with some light blue because it's a nice bright sunny day. And I'm not just going to stop, I'm going to keep going all the way down as if take my sky all the way down to my ground because there's never really an area where the sky doesn't exist. slightly different color blue over top of some of the blue I already have to kind of blend in some different colors. Okay, I'm taking a look at my Cove forest and I really like how it looks, but I have some empty spaces down here and I wanted to add a little bit more. So I could use some of my crayons again to fill in some of this space, which I may do, or I can maybe try to add some different shapes with my painted paper. So I may do that. I may start to overlap or tuck behind. Maybe you can lift up a flap of the paper and add something behind once you take a look at it. So I'm just gonna get started doing that. I think I'm gonna try to tuck this right back there, right behind that bush a little bit. Alright, that's looking very close to being done. I'm gonna go and add some shapes of leaves and different textures to different bush. Okay, I'm even gonna outline my other trees that I did. So they still stand out. Alright, and this white space needs one last piece of plant life. So I'm just gonna take my paper and kind of cut out an abstract shape that I think would fit really nicely right there. Ta-da! And I just kind of lifted up the top of that shape and stuck it behind, just like that. Alright. Really like that. Much better now. Okay, I just need to add a little bit of sky there. And a little bit of sky over here to finish the whole piece. Just like I layered the different types of blues on the sky, I can also layer some different colors of blue or green in the trees by drawing in some different colors of leaves. All right, and there you have it.